Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Fantastic. How are you?
Him and his balls, and let's go.
I'm good.
Good evening.
Hi, Lorenzo.
Hey,
How are y'all?
good. How are you?
Here.
Doing
Hi,
great.
King.
Nikki, you have to be on the lookout for any intruders.
Oh man, I hope we did not go through that tonight. Hello, welcome. Good evening. Thank you. Paris said we look fabulous.
Thank you, Paris.
Thank you, Paris. We figured we would, put on some clothes for y'all tonight. We're tired though.
It's almost Friday.
Almost Friday. I'm gonna pause really quickly though.
Huh?
I'm shuffling papers over here. I didn't want to do all of that in the mic.
We'll give it one more minute to allow some more folks to join, and then we'll get started. As Nikki shuffles her papers. Hey, Barbara. Is she connected yet? Hi, Karen.
Ladies, how are y'all?
Doing good. How about you?
Doing all right.
Hi, sis. Hey, T, I see all my babies. Hey, y'all.
Hey, Barbara.
Hey Pam. Hi Nikki.
How are you? We
Good,
haven't
how are
seen you since pre-pandemic.
No way. Has it been that long?
It has been that long.
I'm sorry, ladies. I hope
No, it's all good.
great. You look great. So y'all been doing good, I can tell. Very nice. Good to see you.
Thank you. Great to see you as well. Hope the family's doing good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. My son is great. Just, teenager, 8th grade.
He's probably taller than you, I'm sure.
Yeah, he's almost 6. He's just about 6 feet now. So yeah.
What?
Tell me about it.
Oh my gosh. We have to catch up.
Yeah, definitely.
So we're going to go ahead and get started. I have to first apologize for my voice. Nikki's son is in his last year of high school, and he had a championship basketball game last night. So we were out doing our thing, cheering, and now I don't have a voice for our meeting. So I apologize, and Nikki's going to bring it up for me if I lose my voice any more than I've already lost it. Let me share my screen. There we go. All right. Can everybody see my screen now? Thumbs up. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. I'm Pam Dorsey, and you'll see my fabulous partner over there in the future.
I'm Nikki.
We are so excited to be joining you tonight. We have our meetup every third week of the month on a Thursday. And so this particular meetup, the topic is near and dear to our hearts because it's been really a process for us. And it's something that we have learned along the way and felt like we needed to bring our village along with us as we grow and learn more and more about building business credit, particularly around how to leverage it with regard to real estate and the partnerships and the networking that we do in the real estate space. So thank you all for joining us. And we're going to go ahead and get started. I like to start every meeting. We like to start every meeting by recognizing our partners and sponsors that we work closely with in building our business. The partners that you see at the top of the screen are they're in an advisory capacity or in a partnership capacity with us. And have been since the very beginning. We rely on their businesses' expertise to advise us on our many different business ventures and opportunities. Some of them are affiliate opportunities as well, as we have vetted their businesses and would certainly advocate for anybody that we do business with to join and partner with them as well. So we're certainly always happy to recognize our partners. And then at the bottom of the screen are our meetup sponsors. I would like to recognize repeat sponsors that we have. We have platinum sponsors, Greystone. Greystone is a private national commercial real estate finance company with an established reputation as a leader in multifamily and healthcare finance with over $16 billion in loan originations. The firm consistently ranks in the top 10 for Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac multifamily loan originations and is the #1 FHA commercial lender in the country. We continue, this is Greystone's third year of sponsoring Paragon Investment Partners Meetup. So really excited to continue to partner with them. And there are great opportunities coming down the pike with our relationship with Greystone in the minority affordable housing space and business development, economic development in some of the opportunity zones that have been parsed out throughout the nation. You'll learn more about those opportunities as we get more involved with them. We will make those opportunities available to you, as we always do when we come across deals and opportunities that we feel would best serve our community. PFD Business Solutions is my human resources consulting business that I've had for 6 years, and I'm proud to sponsor my other businesses, including Paragon Investment Partners and specifically this meetup. We provide human resources and consulting services to small and medium-sized companies nationwide, particularly in the tech startup space. We also like to recognize Accolade Accounting. That's our accounting firm that we do business with for all of our businesses. They are a silver sponsor for our meetup. And this is is it second year, Nikki? Second year, I think, sponsoring the meetup. So we're always glad to continue that partnership. JD was here last month. JD is the CPA, the lead CPA at Accolade Accounting. And if you missed that meetup, you missed a treat, but I think I sent out the replay of that event. And if you got it, and you're on our mailing list, I'm sure you got it, but I would advise you to go back and listen to it because he delves really deep into business entity startup and the specific tax strategies that are advantageous for the different types of entities. If you're looking to really establish a real estate business and grow it. And he is a great partner. His firm is really great. We use him for all of our business accounting needs. So I highly recommend JD as well. The others obviously are also sponsors of ours, and we continue to leverage them and partner with them going forward. So you might wonder what you get from a meetup sponsorship. And it's the opportunity for you, if you are interested in growing your business. We have a large network. Our meetup platform, I think at this point, is over 600 people. We have a large social media network as well. And so you have the opportunity for us to promote your business on our platform. You get the opportunity to be a guest speaker for our meetup, to be able to share your business's services. You get promotion on our websites, our social media platforms. You get also we put out a quarterly newsletter. And so you get featured in the newsletter as well. So it's just an opportunity for you to partner with us and have an opportunity to gain more visibility and to leverage the network that we've built for Paragon Investment Partners. So a little bit about Nikki and I. We started Paragon Investment Partners 4 years ago. January 30th was our 4-year anniversary. And we are multifamily real estate investors focused on developing and acquiring properties that generate passive income. We founded the business with a desire to build our real estate investment portfolio while introducing value add opportunities to investors who partner with us on deals and the community. We are currently invested in over 300 doors right now, and our portfolio is valued at over $17 million. We established the meetup a year after we had been in business. And the reason we established the meetup is we started going out and networking on a national level, attending lots of really many different conferences. And we were the only or the minority in the room. Not only were there not enough African Americans in the room, there were even less women. And so we thought it would be a great opportunity for us to take what we learn as we grow in the business and establish our own meetup and provide that opportunity to grow other women in the space and encourage them to get active and get involved, get as educated as you can, and be able to grow your portfolio wealth the same way we are.
I'm acting like I'm an attendee. I always talk right there. Anyway, guys, we are super excited. We have been asked numerous times to talk about our journey of building business credit. So we thought in honor of Black History Month, this would be the perfect time for us to come back to our platform. Obviously, we share our platform all the time with numerous SMEs, but we consider ourselves SMEs too, and a few things too. So sometimes we like to come back and chat. But again, like I said, one of the things that was important for us, especially during this time, you all already know that access to capital for our ancestors back during this time was really, really tough, right? And so what they did was they decided to build the Black Wall Street. And if you guys aren't familiar with the Black Wall Street and what happened down with the Tulsa massacre down in the Greenwood district, I really do encourage you to do some research and see what that's about. But I'm sure most of you probably already know, and so that's good. So access to capital for us has always been a vital thing. And so both Pam and I are serial entrepreneurs. I'm sure she already touched on that a little bit. So we've been in a number of different businesses. And one of the things that we decided on was when we launched this one, we were like, we're not going to play this game this time with just our money, right? This time, we're going to play the game in the business credit space, because what that does for you, when you have more access to capital, you can go into larger projects, you have access to different deals, right? And now your footprint can go just a bit longer with that. So that's what we decided to do at the very beginning. But obviously, in order to do that, you have to first start off with making sure that your business is structured properly to even do that. And that's what we did. Some of the topics tonight. Now, I'm a little hoarse too, because I was at the game too, but I'm just a little bit better than Pammy tonight. So bear with me as well. We're going to give you specific steps that we took to build our business credit. We're going to explain exactly what is business credit. A lot of people are like, well, what is that? What does it mean? And why is it business credit is important to you, and different strategies that you can do and you can use to build your business credit without a personal guarantor. Now, you can build business credit personally guaranteeing it, but the key is to build their credit without having to actually personally guarantee it. But you all already know. Before we get started, we're gonna come off. Y'all already know the game, right? I want to see who's here, who's in the room. Where are you coming from? Oh my God, this is so beautiful. I love it. Where are you coming from? Tell me one thing that you want to learn about building business credit. Don't be shy. It don't make me wait too long. We have too much to cover.
Hey, this Paris.
Okay.
So one thing I want to learn about building business credit is pretty much how do you start with building business credit? Like what information are they looking for as it relates to getting business credit? Because I've applied before and I've been denied. So I guess just where do I start type of thing.
Good. Okay. Good. We can answer that. Anyone else? Where are you coming from? Come on, guys. I see all these people. Help us out.
Hi, Nikki.
Brandy. Hi.
It's Barbara Shepherd.
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Good, thank you. So like the young lady just said, I'm interested in just learning how to get started building it. I'm here in Maryland, Southern Maryland, Clinton, Maryland. And you know, it's been the buzzword for my entire week. Business credit. It keeps on coming up. So when I saw your invite a little while ago, I was like, oh my gosh, I have got to be on this so I can just, hear from some friends, the true story on how to get started. So definitely looking forward to hearing what you ladies have to share. Thank you.
Definitely makes a difference to hear from your friends, right? Someone that you know, like, and trust because you know that you can trust the information, right?
Absolutely.
Exactly. One more and then we're going to keep on moving. Come on, y'all. We have a room full of people. Don't be shy. Hi, Clara. Okay, I think I have the same question. How do we build business credit? Okay. So good, that's good. So everyone pretty much is like, what is it? How do you start? I see you, Karen, you wanna say something?
I'm sorry. I was going to say, how do we buy with business credit? Like, how do we get a car? How do we actually put it into motion? Because I've built some and it's just sitting there and I'm like, what am I doing? How do I make this work for me?
Listen, that's a big key too. When you have it, you must use it or they'll take it back from you. They'll start decreasing your levels. You don't want to do that because they want you to use it so that they can earn money off of it. Remember, I've talked about this before. Your money is only good if it's moving for you. You got to make your money work for you. So we'll touch on that.
Thank you.
Good. Well, I see we have a bunch of shy people in here, but what I do know is because I recognize a lot of the names, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you, queens. I know that you guys and kings, I see you all too. I know that you are returners and that's important to me. And you know why? Because for marketing and advertising, that's a large expenditure on your operational expenses, right? And it costs you more money to get a new client than it does to retain your old clients. Why? Because with your old clients, all you have to do is satisfy them. It's called customer satisfaction and they'll stay with you. That doesn't cost you a dime, but making sure that they're satisfied, right? So I know that you guys are satisfied and we have quality content that we're bringing to you guys because you keep returning, you keep returning, and you keep returning. And we love you for that. We love you for that. Okay? All right, so we're gonna move on.
Now I'm watching like I'm a spectator.
We have been building our journey, our business credit for over 4 years. And we already talked about, we just celebrated our 4-year anniversary on the 30th of January. Super excited. And we talked about that before too. A lot of, you can go back real quick 1 second before we get there. A lot of businesses never make it by that first year or second year of business. We are really super excited about it because not only did we make it through, we made it through a pandemic. Now, I'm not going to say it was without some bumps and bruises now. I'm not going to say that, but we made it through. And so that's to be celebrated. We were laser focused when we started off with building our business credit. We worked to establish our business scores. Did you know that on the business side, there are scores that come along with it, just like the FICO score? There are business scores. It's called the PAYDEX, and it's also called the Intelli score. Okay, so in order to build those scores, though, you have to make sure that the accounts that you have are reporting to the business bureaus, the business credit bureaus. You have to be very specific. And when you get these accounts and asking, and when I say asking, you got to drill sometimes. And sometimes when you don't get the answer you need to get, guess what? Thank you very much and call back. Okay, that's how simple it is, right? We were strategic in building our lines of credit as well. We went through 3 tiers. There are also tiers in building business credit as well. There's tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and then there's a tier 4 that we just found out about. We thought we were almost through, but there's another tier as well. So you have to have a range of different accounts. We're going to go into all of that in detail. You want to start off with vendor accounts, right? Hi, Natasha, thank you. You're going to start off with vendor accounts, and they're called net 30 accounts. And you really, but surprisingly, a lot of people that you're already doing business with, they offer business lines of credit. But guess why you don't know? Because you haven't opened your mouth to ask, because you didn't know to ask. Ask them. The people that you're already doing business with, start there. Ask them, do they offer business lines of credit? Store cards as well, major credit cards. We have Visa cards, MasterCards, American Express. We just got our new baby. We're going to start traveling with her next, right? But to be honest, very, very honest with you, although we're over 150K, we could have accelerated this process. But we decided that we actually wanted to do it diligently enough where we didn't have to personally guarantee it, which means that if that line goes into default, then you would be personally responsible for it. Or if you actually come into that line, you now have to sign on it and they're doing some type of hard pull on your personal side. We didn't want to do it that way. We wanted to build it the old-fashioned way, like we always do, right? But now we're getting ready to accelerate it. So you guys should stay tuned. We're going to let you know. We'll keep you updated on it. You can go to the next slide. So why has business credit been essential to us? The more capital that you have, obviously, the more deals that you can pursue. Real estate, you already know, it requires large quantities of money to play in this space and to take down deals, right? So we knew if, so we started off, we had our credit, we had a little bit of seed money, but it only goes for so far, right? One deal and your money is gone. Right? So with that, we're like, okay, that's not going to work. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up our infrastructure. We're going to make sure that the infrastructure of the business is set up, and we're going to talk about that too properly, because once you do that, then you can start the process. And it's a tedious process. I'm not going to lie to you. It is one that you have to manage and manage it well, but it is rewarding at the end. I promise you that. We did not want to run up our personal credit either, because it will hurt your personal score, right? With your personal credit, it's based off of debt to income, right? It's the debt to income ratio. On the business side, it's quite the opposite. It's based off your ability to pay. So the more you can pay for, and as long as you pay your bills on time, the more access to capital you will have, okay? That's the game you gotta play. You want to build as much credit as you can without hurting your personal score. You want to properly position yourself where you can actually take out a loan. That was the next thing we wanted to do as well. If you go through the tiers and go through them properly, once you get to tier 3, they're going to start reporting from Experian, and we'll talk about that, Dun & Brad. Next, they're going to start reporting to Equifax. Once they start reporting to Equifax, then they're going to start reporting for you on loans. Now you have access to capital on the loans. And what is that? Cheaper money, right? Because now you can get access to capital that's only going to cost you what? 3%, 4%, or what have you. Whereas with credit cards, it's going to cost you about 16% or not, depending upon your credit score, right? The more volume that you have and the more that you play on the card, the larger the limits they will give you. So that's why I was telling you, sis, you have to use the card. When you use the card, make sure you pay it on time. When you pay it back, you can call back in a couple of months. Boom, I want to increase it. It's that simple. You can't do that on the personal side. I just gave you a quick hack. I hope you wrote it down. The other thing that we wanted to do, we wanted to leverage our travel. We run everything on our cards. When I say everything, I'm talking if I want a $2 soda. Okay? The same way like you use your Visa debit card that's attached to your account, that's the same way you want to use your business cards. Because the more that you use them, the more you're improving and increasing your relationship with whomever you have that account with. So they will give you more to use, okay? We travel for free. We use our miles to travel because with the business side, you get larger rewards than you would get on the personal side. That's another advantage as well. We get discounts on hotels, on cars, all types of things. Cash flowing assets. In the middle of the pandemic, I know you guys remember, we actually launched into the short-term rental space and also to the corporate rental space as well. Well, we were actually able to open our Airbnb solely on our business credit. And the only way that you can really go into that space, which is the way we wanted to go into, now there are ways that you can go into this space illegally, okay, where it's in your name and now you're actually short-term renting the space out, it's in an apartment, you know, and you're not supposed to really do that. They don't typically allow that. However, you actually can get what they call a corporate lease with the companies, with the apartments, right? But you have to have established business credit. Well, guess what? We were already properly positioned for that. So we were able to get a corporate lease for our Airbnb, pay for everything, all of our upfront costs, furnish it. Why? Because we had accounts with our vendors' accounts, furnish it as well, pay for the upfront expenses that were associated with it. And now we have a unit that's in Midtown and getting ready to expand in that space now as we speak. So that's the power of business credit and making sure that you're established properly. Now we're in the lending space. We actually just got approved not too long ago for Apple financing. Did you know that you can get financing for your Apple products? Yes, no, did you know that? Talk to me in the chat.
No.
I was familiar with it, but I thought it was like a
Yes.
large amount of product you had to purchase.
It's a $4,000 spend, correct. However, you have to actually earn your way to that tier to even get a loan in that space. And we'll talk about that. So we'll move on.
Okay, Nikki touched a lot on some of these topics, but I just want to reiterate.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's fine. What our experience was, we were so diligent about establishing these credit relationships that we would call and talk to the lending department and ask really specific questions around where they report. And honestly enough, the people that were lending didn't have the answers. And so we often had to keep calling back or call to, a different location or more of the next level up. And even they didn't have the answers. So one of the things that we've learned is that you can't just be discouraged by the first person you talk to, because oftentimes they're telling you something that they don't really know or understand. They didn't even understand the difference between credit reporting on the business side and credit reporting on the personal side. When we called to ask them about it, they just automatically assumed that we were talking about the personal side. We had to be really distinct and break it down to them what we were asking. And once we did that, we always got, oh, I'm not really sure. I'll have to look into that and call you back. Or I'm not really sure. I don't have the answer to that. Let me find someone else for you to talk to. But that didn't stop us. We continued until we got the answers that we needed. We called back many times and we were able to get through to the people we needed to speak with. But the other thing is, you need to have a strategy for what you're trying to accomplish. And Nikki's going to go really deep into the different tiers of credit and how to leverage them and at what times in your business is good to leverage them. But if we were to stop at the first no that we got, then we would have gotten discouraged. We would have been continuing to use our personal credit to guarantee a lot of the upfront business expenses that we had. And as a startup business, you're oftentimes using your own money until you have access to business capital. And so the sooner you're able to get off of that cycle of using your own money by establishing your business credit, establishing your business legitimately, which we're going to talk about, and positioning yourself to be able to use other people's money. Nikki mentioned it also, once you get the credit lines, you have to use them. The moment you stop using them, they will reduce your credit spend. Now you can spend again and they'll move it back. You'll call and ask them to have your limits increase, but the goal is to maintain, because the goal is to move to the next credit tier. I don't know what's happening to my screen. I'm not even touching my computer, so I'm not, I don't know what's going on, sorry. Monitoring your credit, just the same way you do on the personal side, it's probably more important for you to do it on the business side. It takes not even, Nikki will have to explain it to you, but the slightest instance can happen in your not using your credit, or your credit limit goes down, or we're not placing enough orders with some of the vendor lines, and they recognize that you're not as active in the credit space, and they will take your Paydex score or your IntelliScore down a couple of notches. And so the same way you monitor your credit through FICO, which I'll talk about in a minute, and the differences between the two, you want to do the same thing on the business side, because you want to maintain the levels that you attain. You want to maintain them in order to move to the next credit tier. And the goal is always to get to the highest, because there's more access to capital in the way of loans and larger credit lines when you start moving into those higher tiers. And again, we'll talk more about legitimately establishing your business. So, you have to assess where you are in this credit space. Like currently, what are you doing? Are you operating as a business, a legitimate business? Are you exercising what you're doing as a hobby? If you want to play the credit space, the credit game, you have to establish yourself as a legitimate business. So you'll start here. We all started at zero. We started with no business credit, and we've been able to obtain the credit that we have, and we are, constantly trying to improve and get better. But that's not where we're going to stay, because the more access to capital we have, the more we're able to leverage it to get into larger real estate deals, and to partner with other people on deals without using our own capital, or without, as Nikki said, personally guaranteeing. So as you're assessing what you're doing, are you running out of money? Are you using your own cards? Number one, are you running out of money? And then assess how you're going to continue to stay in the real estate space if that's where you want to be. Because if you're in it for the long game, you're going to have to play the credit game. So how is credit different from your personal side? The personal guarantee is first off, you're going to your credit is your ability to actually pay using someone else's money. We've established that, but there are some similarities in the way of reporting agencies. So Equifax, there's a business side and there's a personal side. Experian, there's a business side and there's a personal side. And then there are others that we'll talk more about. Dun & Bradstreet is one, PayNet is another. There's other credit entities that are monitoring and aggregating how you use and how you spend on the credit side, we'll talk about what they look for. There are certain flags and things that they tag you for that will either raise your score or bring your score down. So again, the monitoring is key. So you want to sign up with a credit monitoring service that's going to ding you and remind you. I don't know if any of you have the FICO monitoring. Nikki and I both have FICO monitoring on the personal side, but they also have the same thing through Dun & Bradstreet and Business Experian, also have credit monitoring services that will remind you of things that are happening on your account, if it's going up or if it's going down, if certain trade lines are reporting or stop reporting. Those are things that you want to pay attention to and continue to monitor. And then obviously the tiers of business credit, leveraging what you have access to at different times throughout your credit building process. So the FICO score, most of you, I'm sure, are familiar. You've been around long enough to understand that it's basically the Fair Isaac credit system that is monitoring how you use your credit worthiness, your ability to pay back, the mix of credit that you have. Like, do you have installment loans or do you have mortgage lending? It's good to have a mix. How much is owed? How long have you had your credit? The longer your credit history, the higher your score. So all of this is an aggregate consumption of all these different factors that make up your FICO score. The scores range anywhere from 300 to 850. The max used to be 750, but now it's 850. This is the three major credit bureaus are Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion on the personal side. So on the personal side, your ID number, your personal ID number is your social security number. So that is how the credit bureaus are tracking what you're doing. But on the business side, it's your tax ID number or your EIN. And so that's the way that your stamp for tracking your credit history on the business side and how you're using it. They can sell your information. The credit bureaus, they use it to pre-screen you for different products and services. Your credit is unfortunately being handed and passed to lots of different people, whether you want it to or not. So there are some consumer protections that are in place to try and mitigate that. But for the most part, you have to assume that when you are applying for credit, that your information is going to be sold. You will notice that you'll start to get ads and offers from other creditors. If you go to get a mortgage loan, you'll start to get tons of mortgage offers from other people. That's because they've sold your information to other creditors to try and get your business. Credit is basically other people's money. We want to be able to make sure that whether we're buying apartments, we're buying homes, we're buying cars, or we're taking trips, that we're always using other people's money. Nikki mentioned earlier that we have our credit cards are rewards credit cards. So we've positioned ourselves to be able to get the maximum benefit of using other people's money to leverage ourselves to be able to buy these things with other people's money and not our own. Another point I want to bring up is about your business entities. And we'll talk more about how you set up your businesses. But the same thing you do for one entity. So I'll give you an example. We have our parent company, that's Paragon Investment Partners, but we also have LLCs that hold our assets for protections, obviously. So our real estate investment properties are in LLCs. Those entities can build business credit as well. We have a Paragon Suites is our corporate rental entity that we use to get corporate rentals and Airbnbs. Every separate entity can have its own credit profile. And as you build it, you get access to more capital. So depending on what business you're operating in that space, and you grow that to tier 3 and tier 4, you have access to the maximum amount of loans and capital that you need to be able to do business for that particular business stream. Same for all the others. It's not limited to just one. Every entity can have its own EIN. It has its own EIN. And because it has its own EIN, you can build its own credit profile and you can rinse and repeat. Nikki mentioned doing business with people that extend credit to you. We like to make sure Nikki's very strategic in who we go after when we set up credit accounts. We're set up for the corporate rental in Georgia. We have Wayfair professional business accounts. We have Amazon Amex accounts because we have to buy inventory to keep that property maintained as guests come and go. So in addition to building up that particular that unit to be able to rent, there's an ongoing maintenance that has to happen. There's toilet paper, there's paper towels, there's dishwasher pods. Like there's a whole inventory that goes with that business. So what do? We go out and make sure we have credit lines with all of the different business creditors that we're going to need to access to get the inventory purchased without using our own money, without using our own credit. So that's what we mean when we say use the creditors and the trade lines that you normally would do business with for the business that you're doing. You're going to run out of money fast. As a new startup, if you're new to your business, you're using your own money. In the first year that we were in business, when we had our first duplex, a month into purchasing the duplex that was fully occupied when we purchased it, 30 days later, we had no tenants. So we had no revenue. So that's how fast things can change. So we knew early on that we needed to establish the business credit. So the faster you can set that up, the faster you're able to leverage it in the instance of any economic downturn that might happen in your business. So you want to always make sure you're in position to be able to leverage your credit. And Nikki mentioned it earlier, did you know you can call every 6 months? I don't even think it's 6 months. I think it's like every 3 months you can call and ask for your credit lines to be increased. And Nikki does it faithfully, so she can attest to that. So the fight, we talked a little bit about the differences between the personal side and the business side. Obviously, you have FICO on the personal side, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, and then I told you about the others. Nikki mentioned the IntelliScore. That's the business score that Experian attaches to your business. Dun & Bradstreet as a PAYDEX score that's associated with your business. The Small Business Financial Exchange is another aggregate credit agency that monitors your use across all of the others, and it builds an aggregate score of how you're using Experian, how you're using Dun & Bradstreet, or how you're rating with Dun & Bradstreet, and how you're rating with Equifax. So these are just a number of different credit reporting agencies that are monitoring what you're doing on the business side. They're creating a score. And just like on the personal side, depending on if you're going to get a car or if you're going to get a house, depending on who the creditor is, they have relationships with each of these. Some you'll come across use Experian and Dun & Bradstreet. Some come across, they'll do Experian, Dun & Brad, and Equifax. It just all depends on who the creditor has a relationship. But it's important that you establish trade lines and vendor lines that report to all of these, because at some point, whoever you're doing business with is going to be tapping into your information that's associated with one of these different credit agencies.
We like to focus on the data, which is why we're starting here. And it may seem overwhelming, but if you focus on the data points, that is what is going to create your success. So focus on the data, right? Know where you need to be. That's how you successfully build it. So it's very strategic. So we're talking through the strategic plan that you need to basically implement and launch, all right? So she gave us about 5 that are out there, but there are really 3 main players that you want to be concerned about. That's Experian, business credit reporting, okay? There's an Experian for personal, and then there's an Experian for business. So you have to be very specific when you ask, do you report to the Experian business credit reporting side? Because they'll say, oh yeah, you know, we do report, and we report to Experian, and we report, but I asked, do you report to the Experian business credit reporting side? Because if they don't, then that account is not going to serve you, okay? So you have to be very, very specific. And when you're asking, who do you report to? Those are the accounts that you want to go after, all right? And this is how you're going to build your IntelliScore on the Experian side. That score ranges from 0, I'm sorry, it's not even 0, it's 1 to 100. And it actually weighs your risk level. Obviously, if you're in green, that's the lower risk. So you're aiming really for 80. You're aiming for an 80 on the Experian side, which is your IntelliScore, and you're aiming for an 80 on your PAYDEX. If you're at that 80 mark, you're pretty much gonna get approved for everything. Uh-oh, I just dropped another gem. Okay, so aim for that 80 mark, all right? And how you do that is basically finding out who reports to these particular bureaus. 9 times out of 10, they typically report to Experian or Dun & Brad. And if I'm not mistaken, that's the next one that we have coming out, right, on the next slide. The key to it too is you want to have a number of payment experiences. And payment experiences are basically the number of times that they actually report on these reports. So you need to see, and we're going to talk about that when we talk through the tiers, how you actually go through the tiers, okay? This is still Experian? Okay, I thought we were on Dun & Brad next, no?
We are, but we wanted to show an example of what the credit report, what the report looks like.
Yep, so this is our sample report. So you can see, and this is another key. I know why we have this here. The key with that is you want to make sure that your address and all of the information that's on your documents where your business is registered matches when they're reporting on you. That's how you're able to get the approvals. It's a system that they go through, and we're going to talk through that as well. So as you can see, all of our information is here. You have the address where our business is located, who the managing partners are. Then you have the codes that will associate which industry you're actually in. You have to go through all of that when you're picking your, where do you select those codes? I can't remember what we had to do to select those codes, the NAICS codes. If I'm not mistaken, go ahead.
They're government codes.
Mm-hmm.
They're government codes established for the industry. So they're used in many different, I mean, if you're trying to get government contracts, if you're trying to do,
For sure.
For-profit business, they're universal industry codes. So
if I'm not mistaken, when you actually are setting up your report for Experian, you have to actually select which industries you're associated with at that particular time. And you actually are going to put that information when you start registering too, as well, like Pam was saying, if you want to start securing government contracts and things like that, that's when these codes actually come into play. But in terms for business credit and how you actually access different things, they're going to look to weigh those codes to see which spaces you actually play in to determine their level of risk on how they're going to lend to you. That's when those codes are important, okay? So again, focus on the data. You want to start with when your company was established. As soon as you create that LLC, you should be getting your EIN, all the other stuff that come along with it. And we'll talk about that too.
those next codes also come into play in registering with Dun & Bradstreet as well. So like Nikki said, they're industry standard codes that follow across the different credit entities.
Now, Dun & Brad is another one that's important. I want to also point out to you guys as well. You have to have a Dun & Brad number for them to actually report for you too, as well, to establish yourself on Dun & Brad. So that's why we're saying you have to have your business set up legitimately, right? For them to even recognize who you are, okay? And then on this report, it's the same thing. You want to get up to at least 5 lines that are actually, that I'm glad you said that. I see you, Charmaine. I see all of your questions and I'm going to answer them. Do not pay for your Dun and Brad number. I'm so glad you brought that up. Do not, do you hear me? Do not pay for your Dun and Brad number. It is a free number. That is a free service that is given to you by Dun and Brad. However, with these agencies, Dun and Brad is one of the largest business credit reporting agencies, and they have been around for years. You hear me? And so they are a well-oiled machine, okay? And they're in the business of getting business with different types of products and services. And so they will try to sell you different things, different companies as well that people know. Well, I'm sorry, let me say the companies know that you don't know, right? That you don't have to pay for this. And so you have companies out there that will charge you for this number when all they're doing, because they know where the data and where to go to get it, is they're going to get the number for you, but charging you a fee for the service, okay? So make sure if you don't take away anything, your Dun and Brad number is free. And you also do not have to pay to get it and for them to establish an account for your business with Dun and Brad. Make sure you notate that as well. They have different products that they offer that they will charge you for, okay? But you don't have to do that to actually get your Dun and Brad number and start a file with Dun and Brad. Make sure you know that. Now, the agencies are going to be used, well, the credit reporting agencies, I should say rather, and your vendor accounts and different lenders are going to look here to see, based upon your history, based upon your lines, what they're recommending that they can actually loan to you. And then they start to compete. And this is why we're saying you want to go ahead and get the largest amount that you can get, because the higher the amounts are, the more they're going to give you. Because now the next company is trying to compete for your business. Okay? Next slide. These are a few others. The Small Business Financial Exchange. This one is actually American Express reports here. A lot of the financial cards actually report here. But again, they're not one of the larger players. The ones that you're really going to be concerned with in this space is going to be Experian, Dun and Brad, and Equifax. Okay, and they have it on their actual websites. You can go in and you can actually sign up for an account where you can actually monitor your service. And it's not too bad. They have annual fees and they have monthly payments that you can pay on it. But we do recommend it as something that you should get. It's worth having. All right, so tier 1, here we are. Tier 1 of business credit. This is where you're going to start. This is the easiest barrier of entry. And these are typically going to be your vendor accounts, which are going to come with terms that we call net 7, 15, 30, and 45, meaning that they're going to loan you this money on these terms. And at the end of 7 days, 15 days, 30 days, 45 days, the balance has to be paid in full. Okay, those are your net 30 accounts. Those are extended to you by companies that you do business with. That's why we're saying start with the people that you're doing business with already. That's what we did. When Pammy talked about what we did and how we were strategic and the cards that we went after, because again, the game is to use the cards. Well, did you know that Bob's Furniture actually offers corporate accounts? We have a Bob's Furniture account that we use to furnish some of our things, okay? So talk to the people that you're actually doing business with. Marketing, different type of gear, that you're gonna get for your company or different things like that. What was the name of the company that we use? I can't remember. For Imprint. They offer corporate accounts as well, vendor accounts that you can actually go out there. So start with the people that you're actually doing business with and ask. They're not going to just volunteer that information out to you because there's some regulations that come along. Well, it's not really regulated, I should say, rather, as highly as the personal side is. So that's why they have to kind of protect it. There's really no top to business credit. You can get as much business credit as you can pay for, okay? So a few examples of those, you can start with your Uline, You can start with Quill. You can start with Granger. We started out with a Granger account at $500. We are now up to $15,000 in our Granger account. And we can use that to get tools and different things that we need to, get for different type of projects that we may work on. Quill, the same thing, all right? And then eventually you want to step up to trying to get gas cards too. But before you can move to tier 2, you have to have at least 5 credit reporting experiences on either Experian or Dun & Brad before you can move up to tier 2. Now, this is if you don't want to personally guarantee it. Now, there are accelerators that you can do. You can personally guarantee it, and then you can move through these tiers a lot quicker, okay? But our strategic plan was we didn't want to personally guarantee. And the reason why is, for us, we said, if we decide to close down the business because it's not personally guaranteed, and it's actually, I'm dropping another nugget, attached to the business under the EIN that's not attached to our social security number, guess what? When the business closes, where do you think the credit goes? Right along with it, without hurting our personal credit. That's the game. Next slide. Tier 2. Now get into tier 2, it's gonna be some work because again, you have to get through tier 1 and have them reporting. You have to buy at least $50, sometimes $100. Now that's the key. Ask the vendors that you're working with. Okay, so when you report, you want to find out when they report. Okay, and then how much do I need to buy for you to report? Because sometimes they put amounts on the volume that you have to buy for them to actually report. Okay, so you want to make sure that you know all of those data points. Start with the data so that you can successfully build and build quickly. All right, tier 2 is where your store credit cards are. I know you guys go to Costco. You go to Costco, you go to Sam's, all these good places, right? Okay, they offer business accounts. They offer business credit cards. Use them, use them. The American Expresses, the Visas, the Amexes, those are actually what I'm finding. And it's, the more I research on this space, boy, I tell you, it's just so much. That's why I say we are just beginning. A lot of these cards are really based off of relationship. They will approve you just based off your relationship with them, okay? So start building a relationship with them, with the people that you actually want to do business with, okay? Start there. In order to move to tier 3, you have to have at least 10 payment experiences. Jaquita, can you mute yourself for me? Thank you. In order to move to tier 3, you have to have at least 10 payment experiences before you can move on to tier 3, okay? And we have all of the cards that are listed here. But you can actually get some of your gas cards in tier 1 too if you do it properly. But know that it's really a tier 2 level card. Next slide. And so now we've arrived to tier 3, which is the hardest level to get to. It has taken us some time to get to this level, but now, because this is the thing, the reason why it's the hardest level to get to is because this is when you're gaining access to a lot more capital and much more volume, right? And it's much cheaper. Now you can get business loans. Now you can get lines of credit. And now they're amortized over 20 to 30 years with low interest payments that you can use to do whatever it is that you need to do in your business, which is what we're doing. Like I said, we have, Apple financing now, and now we're going to have our reporting going to PayNet because that's where they're actually capturing loans and lines of credit. So now we're starting to build in that area. So now that we're approved there, we're going to be able to get larger areas of loans. More and more. Now, we're talking about credit. We're not even talking about really playing in the space of portfolio lenders and that type of thing, because you can access them too. That's a totally different game. We're going to come back and talk about that topic one day too. But this is the key. You can use this money, you can liquidate some of this money off of your lines of credit, right? To use when you're doing your construction or when you're doing your rehabs or whenever you need money to infuse into a deal real quick as a down payment or whatever it is that you need. Now you can use this money off of your card because on our Amex Go, we actually don't have a set spending limit. We can go in and get up to 50K liquid to put into something that we need to work on. And then once we finish doing it, close it, whatever, you put it right back. The quicker you pay it off, what happens? The more money they're gonna give you. So that's like the real key in this business credit space. This is why we're telling you, it is so vitally essential to get into it and start doing it now. Okay, next slide.
So I don't know if I have much voice left, Nikki. So
You want to do it? You
Go
want to
ahead.
do it? Okay. So here's the thing. This is what you need to do. You need to make sure that you are a real business. Okay. And when we say a real business, you want to make sure that you have an EIN. You want to make sure that you have an LLC or corporation, right? A sole proprietorship. When you're trying to get business credit, they're not going to look at you as a business because it's a sole proprietorship that's connected to your EIN. They don't consider a real business a sole proprietorship or a business that's actually linked to your home, a real business. That's why it's important for you to have your business established with some type of brick and mortar. And if you don't have that, then get a virtual office. Okay, they have virtual offices that you can get an address with. Okay, you want to make sure that you have the EIN, make sure I'm covering everything because I don't have my.
You have another, it's all listed on the next page, don't worry.
Oh, okay, good. Your business bank account as well. There's a banking score that the banks actually have when you start and open your account, that they're tracking you, which is based on your relationship, which is based on your habits with them when you're with them. That's how they determine whether or not they're going to lend to you. So the more you increase your relationship with the bank, guess what? The more money that you're going to have access to. But you first have to have that business account because you want that money to flow through your business account so it's not commingled with your personal money. That's also vitally essential because when you start getting into loans, which is the higher tiers, tier 3, tier 4, they're going to be asking for your tax statements and things like that. So you want to be able to verify, okay? And you can't do that if your money is all mixed in. That's bad business. Your CPA will tell you that, but I'm not a CPA, but that is something that you need to make sure that you're mindful of, okay? Do you have a business phone line or is it just a cell phone? If you don't have that, then you need to take the steps to actually get that. Can they Google you? Can they go in and Google you? This is how you start to establish business presence. So we can go on to the next slide and we'll talk about it.
Well, there's an example recently where you called to get a new credit line and they immediately, while Nikki was on the phone, Googled to see if we had a legitimate business.
Immediately. And she said, what's the name of your company? And I told her the name. She said, oh, let me, I didn't know what she was doing. All I could hear was this. Okay, yeah, I see you. All right, well, I can, and then instantly, I can lend you this, I can lend you this, you have to have an established business presence. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna go get that money and use it for something. Now, these are the 10 steps. You want to conduct a business search in your state. Now, the reason why we say that is because you wanna make sure that if you're actually looking at a name that you're going to name your business, it's not actually taken. So the first step obviously is to go and see wherever you're actually going to register your business, if that business is already a registered entity, okay? Is the name even available? Search the domain to see if the domain is still available. You have to do your due diligence. That's what we call due diligence to make sure it's something that you can do. Then once you know that, now you're going to go through the steps of registering with whatever state you're in, register your business as an official business. You need to register as an LLC or what? I don't see anybody in the chat. Talk to me, LLC or a corporation. Okay? Because a sole proprietorship is what? Talk to me in the chat. Okay, good. S Corp, C Corp, you need to talk to an attorney to see what's going to be your best strategy based on your end game. All right? But it needs to be an LLC or a corporation to actually build business credit. But I don't know what your actual business goals are. So you have to determine what your end goal is to determine whether or not you want to be an S Corp or C Corp. Then you also want to secure your tax ID number, right? That's your EIN. That's free. You go to irs.gov and you grab your EIN number, okay? Then you want to get your 1-800 number as well. They want to know that they can call you on a 1-800 line. You have to start operating, even though you're a small business, like you are a large business, okay? Because that is the goal. Even if you aren't really aspiring to be over a 500, company, 500 employee company, you still have to have the mindset of that if you want to play in this space. Open a banking business account, check around to see what works for you. Chase, may work for some and may not work for others. Bank of America may work for some and may not work for others. We actually like to play in a space where we actually partner with small community banks because we like to partner with the banks that are actually in the areas that we want to invest in. Okay, so we want to build a relationship with them so that they will now loan us money, right, to play in that space. So you look for the banks that are in the markets that you want to be in, and you start figuring out what their criteria are. Okay, secure your social media accounts. That's why you gotta do the work to see what's out there to make sure it's not gone. Put up your social media accounts, Facebook, Instagram. Definitely a website, even if it's just a landing page. They are going to look for a website. They do not start with LinkedIn. They do not start with Facebook. They do not start with Instagram. They are looking for a real basic domain that they can look for some type of website. So even though it may be behind the time, it's not behind the time to actually qualify, okay? And then did I touch on everything on that slide?
Yes.
Good. Do you want to take this one?
Sure. We wanted to give you a little bit of a hack, and I think we talked about this earlier, which is how important it is to, once you establish the credit and you get the cards, make sure you get cards that offer rewards, maximum rewards and opportunities for you to make money on your spend. We run as many of our business expenses as we can on our cards, because the more we spend, the more access to capital we have. And in addition to that, we're earning rewards. We're earning travel rewards for rental cars when we go to conferences, hotels. We use our hotel points. So when we go to real estate conferences, we don't have to, we can maximize the use of those credit points. But again, the goal is to run everything through the cards, because the more you use them, the more access you have to more. They will give you more. It's not like on the personal side that if you get to your 30% utilization, they're going to ding you. It's the complete opposite. The more you spend, the more access you have. So this is one of the hacks that we use.
So I'm sure that a lot of that probably sounds overwhelming. It's a lot. It's a lot through the process. And let me say this, by no means are we claiming to be credit gurus. No, we're not. But we feel like we're at a space that we can share some of the stuff that we do have, and we can help and walk you through the process. So we're going to take it a step further. We're going to do a masterclass where we actually go all the way down into the weeds and walk you through the process. So that's something that you may be interested in and you want to work on it, you should join our class. It's going to be on, I have to look at the date here. We have so much going on, I can't keep up.
March 31st.
So mark it on your calendar. The QR code doesn't work. Oh, no.
It might be because this line is, I'm not sure why this is doing, my computer
Okay.
is doing this.
Uh-oh, hold on. We'll have to send it. How can I send it in the chat? We'll get it to you, Paris. We have your information. We'll make sure that we send the QR code to everyone. I'm not quite sure why. We definitely tested it and it was working.
I'm sure it has
The
to
date
do.
again? Can you say the date again, please?
Sure, it's
All right.
March 31st. March 31st.
So, and I want to reinforce that when we're talking about the masterclass, because we're going to go deeper, these are the 10 high level steps. But how to actually do these things is what we get really deep in the weeds on. There are strategies to some of these things of how you do it and how you go about it. The number 8, those first 3, there's actually a list of like 12 search engines that you should register with. There's different methods to how you go about some of these steps. And those are the things that we go and do a deeper dive into in the masterclass. There's also more of the trade lines and credit lines that we know and have access to that we can help you depending on at which stage of the process you're in with your business. Try the code now because that line is gone. I pray it works. Any feedback on if it works? I can't hear you, Nikki.
It's not working.
I can't even believe it.
Okay, no
It
problem.
worked.
We'll make sure you get it.
She said it worked.
But it says we can't find the page.
Okay,
So it actually worked, but then they were saying, it says webinar jam. Is that what
Okay.
you, but it's saying, oops, we can't seem to find the page.
okay. Okay, no problem. We'll
When we-
make sure that we get it to you. Everyone that's on this call, we'll make sure we get it to you. If you guys are interested in joining, and of course, you're more than welcome. We'll make sure we get the information to you, no problem. Wait till the
I think
next.
it's in one of the invites as well, Nikki, that you sent out.
Okay. I'll definitely check and we'll make sure that everyone gets it for those that are interested in attending. So now we're at the part where we'll take your questions. And feel free, because I know some of the questions are a little bit farther up. If I miss you, just let me know. But if I've answered your question too, feel free to come off and let me know too. Okay, so I see one that says, can you build business credit without having an actual business yet? No, no is the answer to that question. You should have your entity established, whatever it's going to be, because again, the length of time plays a big role in the success of it. So you want to make sure that you have your business established, whatever that is, and then you want to link your EIN to it, and then you start to build that way. Otherwise, you're losing all of the traction that you've gained, okay?
Yeah, and the credit they're extending you is on that EIN, and it's not your personal social, it's the business's social. The EIN number is what's associated with the credit that they're going to extend to you. So you want to make sure it's separate from you for a host of reasons. But you, like Nikki said, you have to get that started. The longer you have it in place, obviously, the more benefit it is to you and the business, and you're able to grow and gain more access to capital.
Exactly. And we talked about some of the cards and the companies that you should go after. Again, we'll reiterate, you always want to start where you're actually doing business. Start where you're doing business first. That's going to be the easiest because that's where your largest spend is, right? So now you don't have to worry about, okay, now I was able to get this card. Now, how am I going to continue to use it? Start with what you're already using, and that's the easiest play for you, okay? So let me know if I answered your question there. That's what I need to know. Strategy. We talked about that. And like we said, we dive a little bit deeper into more strategies that you can use in the masterclass. We'll definitely feel free to attend that. I look forward to hearing about how to keep your spending and your business credit active. Exactly what I just said. Start with the vendors that you actually are already doing business with. If you do that, it'll be easy for you to spend because you're already spending. You were spending your own money originally. Now you're trying to spend the accounts that actually have been given to you, right? And then another thing, and this is one that we're actually picking up now, gas cards. You always use gas, right? And gas is ridiculous, right? By the way, start getting gas cards. Those gas cards actually help you build a lot quicker, okay? Do you pay a fee to see your business credit report? Yes, you do. There is a fee for credit monitoring. There is definitely a fee for credit monitoring. It works in similar fashion, just like with my FICO, okay?
You can sign up with nav.com and that's free. It's a free, it's not as extensive a monitoring as an Experian monitoring or DMB monitoring, but nav.com is a free business credit monitoring source that you can use to start.
But I recommend, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I actually have a NAV account. I have Dun & Bradstreet, but my Dun & Bradstreet, they do offer like a credit monitoring in there, but I wanna say it shows you, I don't know how to explain it, but whenever you sign into the account, I have something I think it's called Credit Signal. And when you go in there, it'll show you like on the left side of the screen, it's got, oh, you have access to, I don't know, 12 items, but the free version of it only gives you access to the first 2. So I don't think that mine shows, like one of your slides that you had showed like some data, I guess, if you will, some statistics or numerical numbers that were across the top. I don't know that mine actually shows all that information. So for your version on Dun & Bradstreet, do you pay a fee so that you can see the numerical information like you had on your slide?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
I want to see all data points.
Okay, cool.
And I would suggest you too, because everything is driven.
I was just trying to not spend money on doing it. Like I do personal credit monitoring and then I have business accounts as well. And so NAV is one of the ones, Dun & Bradstreet. And then I think that I have an access where I can sign into Experian, but it doesn't show me like your actual score. And I have some new accounts that have been opened. And so I actually want to see the actual business credit report, just like I'm able to see my own personal one.
Exactly. That's power. It's power in that, because then you can actually track your progress, and then knowing where you are, that will actually inform what you need to do next.
Okay, cool. One other thing real quick, and then I'll be quiet so somebody else can go. On the Dun & Bradstreet slide that you showed, it had, well, the previous one showed like that score range of 1 to 100. Was there, I may have missed it. Was there a place that you want to get to for the PAYDEX score?
80.
80 for PAYDEX?
80
Okay,
is the magic number. Okay.
I wrote down 80, but I think I thought it was applying to that Experian range.
Both of them. The magic number is 80.
Okay, cool.
So once you get access to it, you'll be able to see where you are, and then you can start tracking your progress, right?
Yep.
And watch how quick you get to 80 when you can see it.
Okay, cool. One last thing I promise, and then I think I'm gonna be quiet. So have you ever used like Dun & Bradstreet offers or has different ways that you can open up lines of credit there? Has your company used any of those methods to establish business lines of credit specifically through Dun & Bradstreet?
No, we have not. We have investigated it. We just didn't want to incur that cost just yet. We decided to go the other course.
Gotcha.
All right, how much does Dun & Bradstreet cost? It all depends on what you sign up for. It can range from $49, as low as $49, all the way up to like 5,000. They offer a lot of different services. And like she was just talking about, a lot of different packages that they try to push to you as well that can actually accelerate your process. And it's good if you want to invest in it. You know, it's totally fine, but you can still attain the same level doing it the way that we're telling you. So it's totally up to you. It's either you pay now or pay later. That's what we believe in. All right, Charmaine. What was the next one? What about Bath and Body Works? I don't think they have a business credit card, but call them and see. I've never actually inquired with them, but I have checked with Ulta. Because again, I start with places that I frequent the most. Even Macy's and Bloomingdale's, they have corporate accounts. Did you know that? It's hard to get them, but they have them.
Kimberly has a question.
It was, wait a minute, it's some more in the chat. How soon can you apply for business credit after starting your LLC? So really right away, because you can get your vendor accounts and remember the net 30 accounts, you don't need to have an established score for those. They will extend you. Now just know that it's a line of credit that's been extended to you through the company. So you won't have the leverage of being able to use it across different things, right? Say for instance, like with your Granger, right? Granger is specific, obviously this line of credit is for Granger. So to be honest with you, we had to start being creative with how we were using Granger. But the more you use it, again, the more they will increase it. Granger is going to come and play with us when we really start getting down and dirty with some of the projects that we're getting ready to go into. That's when Granger is going to be extremely beneficial for us.
And it's because of the type of products that they have. They're more industrial construction kinds of things. Quill.com is office supplies. So any and everything you can think of for office supplies. We used Quill quite a bit when we started our credit journey. You know, we needed copy paper, all kinds of stuff that you would normally use to run your business. We just, we're able to get that through Quill. And so they obviously started reporting. So these three are the first 3 trade lines we actually had for all of our businesses.
And don't be afraid to use this stuff for the stuff you need at home too. You have to just keep it going. All right. If you need stuff for around the house, use it. This is how you stop using your personal credit cards. We're trying to get you away from using a lot of your personal cards, right? So you can keep that score perfect for when you have to get loans and different things like that. If you have to PG, you want to keep your space available to play there on that side. So as much as you can use your business credit for things that you need, any type of operational expenses, whatever expense, use it on that side. But just make sure you pay.
On time.
On time. Okay, Kim, I'll let you go and then I'm gonna keep going through the chat.
Is it true that certain NAC codes are considered a higher risk? So you should, I guess, be mindful of which codes you use when I guess setting it up?
Yes, that is true. That is definitely true. In the real estate space, they consider that more of a risk, obviously. But you can, there's different ways that you can go about that too. If you're going to do some managing in the real estate space, you can also use a code that has management, right? Now that minimizes some of your risk in that space. So there's all types of creative things that you can do to actually move through the system.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
No problem. How long does it take to establish your business and apply for credit? You want to take that one, Pammy?
What's the question?
How long does it take to establish your business and applying for credit?
Well, I think we did it in a weekend. We spent a Saturday and we went through those 10 steps that I showed you on the screen. And I think maybe the next day or the day after that, we started applying to some of these, maybe a week or two, I would say. We started applying to some of these because we were learning, we were doing research and trying to understand the space. So I would say not more than 2 weeks. But you need to be able to have your business established and registered so that when they set up your account, they can at least verify that it exists. But these three don't go through the extensive process of, identifying and matching up, all of the 10 items of like your, the phone and the email. I mean, they obviously want to look and make sure that you're established. So obviously part of establishing is setting up your EIN. So they are going to look at your EIN and they're going to look at, your address. But like Dun & Brad and Experian, they cross evaluate the data. So they look across and make sure that you're set up the exact same way on all of them. If there's any discrepancies, they ding you or they disqualify you for what looks to be, I guess, messiness in how you have your business. Fraudulent. So they do those when you get into those other, the Experian and Equifax and the Dun & Bradstreet, they cross-reference each other to authenticate the accuracy of your business. But these you can, as soon as you have your EIN letter from the IRS verifying that you've been set up and you've been registered with your state, you can go online and apply for those.
And the real power of those is what you're using them for is to help you establish your PayDAPs and your IntelliScore. So you want to make sure that everything is established properly before you do that, because otherwise you have the account, you're buying from them and they're reporting wrong. That's why it's so important to have visibility on who is reporting and what they are reporting so that you can make sure that they're reporting properly too. So we did touch on some of the reasons why they're denied. Really, the biggest thing is they can't verify your business. All of the things don't match. Because with business credit, what you have to understand, personal credit, the difference is it's a lot of algorithms that are used on the personal credit to actually approve you. With business credit, it's someone that's actually doing the work to actually approve you. And it's not as regulated. This is the next thing I wanted you all to know. There aren't as many regulations on the business credit side as it is on the personal credit side. This is why you don't hear about it. They don't really want to give you their money because they're not protected. You have all types of apps on the personal credit side, the Patriot app, this app, that app, right? That's protecting the consumer as well as the business. On the business side, there's no real regulatory measures that are in place. There are some, but not heavily as it is on the personal side. This is why that's the real power in having business credit. It is so much power in having business credit. I cannot stress that enough, the power in having business credit. We did not know about this space, and this is why we are so anxious and excited and just want to just share it because it's so much power in it.
And I would say that I would just follow up and say that Dun & Bradstreet is probably the most stringent on verification of your business facts.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why you want to make sure that you're set up properly. Everything matches across what you've registered with the state, matches what you've registered with the different credit bureaus. All of it lines up correctly because they're real stringent on accuracy in looking out for fraud, business fraud.
Exactly. Dee wanted to know if there are certain tier 1 creditors that are eager to lend than others. Not necessarily, but in terms of barrier to entry, easier barrier to entry, these are the ones that we're giving you here. Granger, Quill, Uline, then you have the Summa Office Supplies. I mean, it's a few more that you can start with, right? That they're not as stringent within their process to actually approve you. And then they still will report for you. That's the power of those. How long does it take to establish business and apply for credit. So we touched on that, so that should be answered. Are there certain Tier 1 creditors that are more eager to lend to new businesses over others? Like I said, these are the ones that we know about that, right away it won't be as stringent. But again, start with who you actually already work with, whoever you're partner with. Start with them to see if they offer business credit. A lot of people offer it and you don't know. You have to just start with asking them. Okay, you gonna call back. I see you, sis. You gonna call Bath and Body Works and check. I know that's right. I certainly would. Please let me know. Because I order a lot of stuff from Bath and Body Works too. I can benefit from that too. Did you start with a virtual office? If so, could you recommend a virtual office? Yeah, we did. We sure did. It was up there, BLE Suites. That's actually who we use.
Who asked the question? Where do you live?
Right.
Where are you in the DMV?
It's Andrea. Not right now. I'm in North Carolina.
Oh, so in this area, we use BLE Suites, and they have offices in College Park, Largo, and Oxon Hill. Nationwide, Regis is you can get a virtual office space at Regis, but they're twice as expensive. So you may just want to do a Google search for virtual offices in the area that you live in and evaluate them for where you are. It depends on your location. They're starting to pop up a lot, more smaller ones, so more private ones, but Regis is like a nationwide, actually it's a global virtual office change. They're all over the world. And if you have a Regis office or membership, you can use their offices anywhere in the world under your membership. But they are.
These are things that we go over even in more greater detail in the master class. Come on and join us. Do you? Hi, stop. All of my sisters are on here. I love y'all for supporting me. Listen, I am so big on making sure that my community and my family around me, if we are winning, if we winning here, everybody around me gonna win too, okay? I appreciate y'all supporting me. I love y'all. Do you recommend lines of credit or business loans? You are, of course, you want to get to business loans because business loans is going to be cheaper money, right? Because it's amortized over 20, 25 years, 30 years. The interest rate is going to be low, but you can start off with the business credit, the lines of credit, because with the lines of credit, it's non-discretionary, right? It's not attached to a car or a house or whatever where it's actually gone. You can use that money once you finish with it. You use it, and then when you pay it back, then it's there again for you to use again. So I love lines of credit. I love either one of those work for me. But like I said, it takes time to actually get to that level. But I think you already there. We're gonna get you that business line of credit. Don't worry.
I think Karen asked when she said what she wanted to learn, she was asking about how to put cars in your business name. I know of 5 creditors. Like not everybody does it. So you obviously want to go with creditors that are open to and flexible to being able to set up your purchasing your car in your business name. I can put those in the chat for you. We have not exercised that yet.
We're getting ready to.
But we are getting ready.
But when you do, I have a contact for you.
Okay, that's an end of the year goal.
But it's luxury exclusive.
Well, wait a minute now. I don't know about that.
Got a guy in Atlanta. He said he can make it happen. So.
Okay. That is also one that's going to accelerate your process. Now, here's the thing, and it's so funny, it's so true. A lot of people say, well, I don't want to get a car that, that's on the business that I have to personally guarantee. Well, guess what? You were going to personally guarantee it on the personal side anyway, weren't you? So why not start off, accelerate yourself when you PG it, you get it through your business on the first time, right? When you personally guarantee it. The next time, I promise you won't have to PG it. All you have to do is pay on time. That's it. Pay on time or early. And the next time they'll be like, when do you want the next loan? Can I single creditors who finance okay, she's giving you those creditors that finance vehicles. Can a single owner LLC be considered for business? Yes, ma'am. As long as you're an LLC, that's all that matters. That's all that matters. Well, this was great. This was awesome. Do we have any other questions before we go to our next slide?
I have a question, but it has nothing to do with the credit piece.
Okay.
You mentioned earlier about the corporate lease. And so does that mean essentially that you found a property that was in an appealing area and that you did a corporate lease, meaning a lease in your business name, and already had the clearance so that you could do your short-term rentals and then of course get the appropriate insurance or what have you, set it up, advertise it, do the thing?
Yeah, that is correct.
Perfect, got it, thanks.
No problem.
The key to that also is, like, we're from the DMV, we live in Maryland. Our property is in Georgia. You have to register your business as a foreign entity if you're operating in another state. So we're obviously established here in Maryland as a business, but in order to operate our corporate rental in Georgia, we had to register our business as a foreign entity in that state in order to be able to do business. The same is true here in Virginia. We're in Maryland, but if we want to operate a corporate rental in Virginia, we have to register our business as a foreign entity in Virginia or any other state in the country. So make sure if you're looking into doing that, you follow whatever the state's foreign entity registration rules are. And there's a small fee. I think in Georgia it was like $250 or something like that, but it varies from state to state.
Okay, let me ask you this. Did you decide, was Georgia because that area was more appealing or because they allow the short-term rentals? Was there a reason that you didn't do it in Maryland? Like, I live in Virginia, so I'm just curious.
We started in Georgia because it is a hot market. We had boots on the ground. My daughter's in Georgia, and so she's there and able to coordinate cleaners and any other property management services that we need. So, you know, that's an advantage for us. You obviously can make that partnership on your own with other property managers if you know of them. But for us, the Atlanta market is really hot for short-term rentals and Airbnbs. There's a lot of hospitals in Atlanta. And so our corporate rental is doing extremely well because of the traveling nurses and doctors take advantage of corporate leasing. And I was in the airport on Sunday and I was talking to a stewardess, and she also was telling me that their stewardesses and their pilots also use those short-term rental or corporate rental spaces as well. So that's another client market for them.
The other piece is, if you remember, again, all with us is all with strategy, okay? We launched this in the middle of a crisis, which was the pandemic. So we already know that a crisis presents opportunity. At that particular time, we had been assessing for some time that we wanted to go into the space, but it wasn't as easy to get into it, right? It was a little bit more money that was required to do it and a little bit more strategy. Well, guess what? During the pandemic, what was happening? No one was traveling. But guess who was open, wide open? They only closed down for 2 weeks. Atlanta. And they wanted to actually travel using Airbnbs versus hotels because they felt more safe. So that's another reason why we picked that market to start in addition to all of the other things that Pam said. Make sense?
It does, brilliant.
I have a question. When you went registered as a foreign entity in Georgia, did you do your main company, or is that another LLC that you created down there to open and put your B&B under?
When you register as a foreign entity, you have to be established already in another state. You can't start a new one. It has to be attached to a primary entity that you already have in another state. So we did start a new entity, but that was because the corporate rentals was a different income and revenue stream, business stream from our multifamily investing. So Paragon Suites is what we set up because we knew we were going to do it. That was a new business stream for us. So we registered Paragon Suites in Maryland, but then we registered as a foreign entity in another state, and we'll do whatever other states we go to. We'll use Paragon Suites, but we'll have to register in that state.
Thank you.
And we go into that. So that's one of our strategies too, was the DBA, because we also wanted to make sure that we were leveraging the history that we already had with our company that was already established here. So that's why we have it as a DBA as opposed to a whole new entity. Everything's about strategies. What's your end goal?
PayPal.
All right, of course, you are more than welcome. And like I said, we're going to make sure that we get that code out to you guys, one that is working. For all that are interested in registering, it looks like this is a hot topic and that we have piqued your interest. And so we're super excited about that. Listen, it's a game that you guys need to play in, for sure. Don't miss it. Don't miss out. You can go to the next slide. We just wanted to show you, and we want to celebrate because we're always celebrating. We were just recently approved, I told you about that, for Apple products for a $10,000 loan. Just like that. No hard pull. We did not have to personally guarantee it. It's just through the business credit and the strength of our business credit. Gas cards, $14,000. U-Haul, American Express. And every so often I get on a roll, so I'm still not done.
We don't have room enough in our wallets. I have to carry 2 wallets for all the cards.
She had to go buy.
For all the cards.
Go buy a new wallet. I said, we were actually playing the game when they were like, who has the most credit cards? She was like, well, clearly we do. I was like, I can never have enough. But that's the power. So for those that are ready, here's another little hack for you. If you think that you already have some of that stuff established, you already have a few cards that, that are reporting, you think you have a paydex that's strong enough, well, go ahead and do yourself a favor and apply for a Divvy account using the code. Let us know if the code works.
It works.
Amen. Apply. Let us know if you approve. I'm sure you will be. If you've done all the stuff that we told you, you can get approved for that. And that is a line of credit, okay? They will approve you based upon the strength of your credit, whether or not you have to pay it back weekly or bi-weekly or monthly. But it is one that will help you manage expenses and all. This is a great card to have. It's a Visa. So anywhere that Visa is accepted, you can apply. And the same thing for the line of credit, you can actually liquidate it. That's the beauty of having a line of credit. You can use it for whatever it is that you need to use it for. And then once you do, do whatever you're going to do, put the money back, boom, the money is available again because it's non-discretionary. It's not attached to something. You can use it over and over and over again. So do yourself a favor and apply for Divvy. If you are approved, the only thing that I'm asking you to do is to let me know. Fair enough? All right. If you guys don't have anything for us, any celebratory stories that you want to give us, then I guess we are getting ready to wrap up the evening. Those are some of our cards. It's not even all of them. But you can, that's how you can contact us. We're gonna make sure that we send out the call for the masterclass. Make sure you mark your calendars. It's March 31st. We're also gonna be partnering, with my sis as well. Is she still here? She probably had to jump off. Oh, she is stuff. Hey, sis. We are going to partner with my sis with this that we get ready to do. Stephanie has presented on our platform before because you know we like to support trailblazing women, and that's not trailblazing sis. So we want to also cross collaborate with her. This is something she's been wanting to do to bring this service to people. And so we'll talk a little bit more about it. If you want to say some stuff, you can, feel free.
No, I'm not going to say anything tonight. I'll reserve all of that for another day. But thank you so much for this, ladies. This is amazing. And, you know, I look forward to continuing to learn more and more from you guys. It's really a blessing. Thank you so much.
Of course. I want to say, sending love to my other sis, DJ. I see y'all. I see Charmaine, Vanessa, Key, Karen. I love y'all. I love y'all. That's what it's about. We got to support each other and bring each other up, right? That's what we have to do. We're going to all come up together, right? Thank y'all. I love y'all. I love y'all so much. I really do. Y'all have a wonderful
Thank you guys. Have a great night.
Pam, nothing?
All right.
Good night, Ashe.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye. Thank you.